Hi there. The question today I'm raising is that organizations invest a lot in the training and development program for their employees, but do these trainings are effective and employees, do they actually learn out of these trainings, or it is just the wastage of money from the organization? And from the employee level also, when they invest their valuable time, do they actually make literal changes in their life or not? So that's the question that we're going to address today. The answer is that yes, this is the problem, that organizations want a good learning and development program for their employees, but there can be gap when they're implementing it. And why there is a gap, that we are trying to understand today. The first of the gap is that the HR strategy for the training, that has to be looked into it. If there is a strategy, if there is a HR having the matrix strategy and they really want to run a training program, they would have a total different approach. See, in the organization, when we talk about product development companies, there are trainings, those are related to the product and the information about the product, and those trainings are taken into account as a understanding about building a product information, maybe a fintech or a healthcare product that a software company is doing. But that is more like a technical part. When we are talking here about trainings, and we are talking about the behavioral trainings, we are talking about not only the technical competencies, we are talking about the behavioral competencies. And believe me, behavioral competencies makes a lot of difference in terms of the deliverable towards their functional role, maybe the technical or the interpersonal communication, etc. Most of the time when we talk about the talent in the market, and especially when we talk about the talent, do the organizations, they have a proper training program there? Yes, they are investing money. They have the internal and external trainers, like say the communication, English language, external trainer would come, he would train, and at the end he would find that none of the participants have made any significant change. Here and there only marginal changes are there, but people, they struggle. Similarly, for anything related to the behavioral, be it the conflict management or team management or anything, people, it looks like that they struggle. They basically struggle to make the changes. So why it happens? Why even the good trainer, he comes and he does a training, but still people, they do not change. There was a survey that was done that one of the trainer, so there are 4 different level of evaluation per se, and the first level of evaluation is very simple, that after the training, have a survey from the resources, what was the reaction of the participants. So one of the trainer had a very good participation score, and his survey score would always be very high, but this was not there. So we'll talk about the effectiveness of the training and why it doesn't happen. So it's not only the problem of the organization or employee will or the trainer capabilities, it's a strategy that we want to discuss. See, let's say for an example, I promote an individual contributor to a team lead or supervisor or a manager. When I put that person onto the role, that person would be delighted to have a fancy title, but have we actually made him capable? That is the part. So, when we do our Master Business and Administration in the HR domain, there is something called the value system and ethics, etc. Before that, there is a very interesting story that is, we have a child in the family. The mother would tell certain do and don'ts, right? Like say, mother would actually take care of for a certain age, but after that certain age, the toilet training is given to the kid, right? And then once it is done, then it comes don't part of that training. That okay, this is the toilet training, and the kids are not expected to do those things, and they are expected to behave normally, in the society. And by the age, different do and don'ts are actually shared by different people in our life. Like siblings would teach something, friends would teach something, proper normal shopkeeper would teach something, or bus driver would teach something, how to do licensing, etc. And by the time the kid is in college and do certain things, all these things are taught. And as a kid, we understand what are the do and what are the don'ts in the society. Same way, when we talk about an organization, there are certain do and don'ts of the organization, and we call it as maybe a corporate ethics or value system. Disciplinary grids are there, and many other training programs are there. And per se, when the normal HR is designing a training programs, they would actually put all the trainings there, be it the conflict management, anger management, and all these things are there. And then, of course, the technical trainings are done by the technical wing of the company, and things are taken care of as and when. But again, the question is the effectiveness of the training. The effectiveness of training still misses there, because the things done by a specific HR, when they're not properly mapped with the strategy, then the gaps would always be there. And though the companies would keep investing, but there would not be any good evaluation or the good result out of those trainings. So this is good for nothing. It's just a trainer coming for entertainment and entertaining the people. People say, you have done good. That's it. As I said that, maybe a trainer is there, he can actually get a good survey result, but effectiveness is not there. So why it is not there? The first thing first of all, when it comes from a business in a very straight way, we have a problem, just do this training and take care of it. Next day we have another training, so just do this and then take care of it. But that is not a strategy. That's why people usually fail. The right way to do is something that I would like to discuss here, is that first of all, autonomy. When you give autonomy to the wing, learning and development is a specific wing in the organization, and it does not run with the whims and fancy of the business needs on an operational way. It actually runs with a very, 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 very systematic and very, very, very different way. Proper HR head who has time to do all these things can only do that. Otherwise, he would just be busy with the ideas to be done and things to be done and issues to be resolved. He would never have. But if a proper environment is given, then the learning development manager or the head would ask the question to the business that, okay, what is the strategy of the business? What is the organization strategy? Right? What we are doing here, what kind of problem that we are trying to solve. So there are training models that we talk about, and then when we talk about training models, then we talk about the requirements, the assessments, then we design the training, what is the context of the training, and what all things are required. See, I'll give an example. When we talk about training to an employee, you can push an employee for a specific training, from your own perspective. But do he wants to change? So question of will and can I do or will I do? That comes there. So if the training agenda is coming from, let's say, a set of people, maybe they are the high 5, 10, 15 of the organization, whether the agenda has been sold to the managers, whether the agenda of the training has been sold to the employees, those are going to attend those trainings. Because see, if you tell me, okay, you do this training, I would say, fine, I'm sitting in the training room because that's good, I'm wasting my time, and why should I learn? I only know this. So see, the social concept, if you go and tell someone that your communications are not that high, they would say, who are you to tell me? So that assessment the context, why, what, all these things has to be mapped, to be sold. Then only this can be done. So there are different models. Agile model is there where you basically are looking into the the assessments, the design part, what is the content, etc., the implementation part, how would we doing, what are the methods of implementation. Then of course the evaluation process is there, and then of course implementation and evaluation. So all these things are there. Then only the training would be taken into a proper account. The other interesting part to the training is that these things has to be mapped with the competences, the functional competences. As I said that there are training need assessments also, how I am doing it, whether these gaps are actually taken into account. I do a lot of PMS, and when I do that, and if I say, okay, you have this KRA and KPI, please put yourself a rating out of 5. Seldom a person would say I am 2 out of 5. People would try to put 6 out of 5 because that's social behavior. They cannot just go beyond. They just don't want to put in a way, because if they put that I am 2 or 3, then that means that there is an improvement in that point. So the KSA, knowledge, skills and ability, that is one thing. KRA, KPIs is the other thing. But how employee is basically understanding that mapping. So there is a way. How can you do? First of all, let's say if I have 5 KRAs in my agenda, 1 KRA, 2, 3, and what is the competency mapping? How important is that KRA for the success of my job? Maybe 1 KRA can be 5 out of 5, and the other KRA may be 3 out of 5, or the other KRA can be 4 out of 5. And same way, all the indicators, KPIs should also be mapped. What is the importance? And then what you need to do is you need to see the personal competencies also of the employee, whether that person is actually mapped and they have what level of competencies towards each KRAs and KPIs. And then comes the gap analysis, that okay, if there is a gap, then what is the gap? And then comes the training need analysis. So that's a very specific measurement and way to first understand the training needs. It cannot be done in a straight way. And when you do that, to be very honest, when you're filling this form, it can be done with by the HR L&D guy and with the supervisor and the employee, or maybe directly with the employee. But I would prefer it would be done directly with the employee. Because when it is done by supervisor or a manager, he definitely would say that there are these deficiencies in the employees, and you do it. But the employee would say, okay, this is given by my manager, why should I do it? Or rather, I don't think that I have these inabilities, so I don't carry it, and that's why the change is not there. But there is an interesting fact that you would say, if you will ask an employee about the gap analysis, the employee would always say that I am full out of full. So there is a way out to handle that. That is where a smart HR would step in and start having a probing questions. That okay, instead of asking a question like how good you are in this particular competency, you can say, okay, what are the things that you don't want to do in your regular job? And let's say if a software engineer is there, and he may say, okay, I want to do the coding, but I don't want to do the documentation. But at a senior level, people are expecting that the software engineer should do the proper documentation, right? Then you can ask the second question, that okay, why you don't want to do the documentation? Since same way you add on questions, and then you understand what are the things that he is not doing, and you can actually make that person realize. So this is a probing technique that you can use. There are so many different techniques that you can put the person in a place where he understands. And when he understands that, okay, this is the competencies and I'm not up to mark, and this gap is something which is there, and I have to, make the changes in my skills capability. Then the actual buyout would happen, and that person would feel that, okay, now if I'm signing it for this training, then I will definitely, I have to do the learning, etc., etc. And then when you have made a training need analysis, you have identified the group, you have to see how the implementation is going to be done. Let's say if you feel that there is a 1.5 hour workshop, or maybe 3 days training program, 1 hour each or 2 hour each, do you think that's going to work? No. But most of the companies, they want to have this kind of these kind of trainings. They don't want to actually invest much, as they say that this is going to have their billing time into it. See, if you really want to do the changes in the behavioral of person, like why a person have a conflict, or why a person is having anger, or why a person is always agitated, from and as in different people. These are very, very simple requirements in an organization, which needs to be addressed from the day one, because that's the maturity thing. That's the corporate ethics. I'll give you an example. There was one set of people. There were 11 or 12 supervisors, and they were given certain KRAs that this is something that you have to handle, or maybe that was related to handling the issues of the resources. And after some time, they found that these people were not actually doing it. And the reason was that in the policy of that the strategy, in grievance handling strategy, they had that first time the immediate supervisor would listen to it, and then in case if it is not resolved, he would actually put it further to the escalation to the second level, to the third level, and fourth level, and hence there was nothing was happening there. And when the deep analysis was done, they found that 50% of them were not aware how to do it. They were not properly trained. And then rest of 20%, they said, why we should do it? We are doing our job. I'm not here for the grievances handling. They never wanted to. So that thing has to be there. Otherwise, people would keep commenting on the capabilities of other departments. What admin is doing, what IT is doing, what HR is doing, but they don't see that what they are doing, because they are not sensitized at the first place. So, and then, once you implement the training, it is important that you do the evaluation level 1, what were the skills and capabilities of the trainer. That is one. And the second level of evaluation is that whether the concerned employee has implemented that skill, knowledge, ability in the practical day life. See, what if I give someone a training and then I don't give him the opportunity to implement it? A person would forget everything in 1 week. So you have to give the opportunity to implement. Then only you can expect that the person is having hold on that. And the third is how to measure the effectiveness from the manager or the head of the department. Is he facing that there is some relevant change, and now his time and money is saved because now he doesn't have to address many other things because of those issues. And then the fourth level is where the head of or the company would see the business advantage of the training, if it is impacting on the business, and of course the ROI, the last one. So all these things, when are mapped and the effectiveness is measured, then only the training becomes effective. Otherwise, doing trainings can be an issue. So I just thought to put something. These all things are there. I know people know about these things, and I just wanted to share that things can be done in a better way in many of the organizations, and we all can learn, provided the learning is totally pinpointed to the set of people, and proper trainer is there, and proper implementation is there, design and the content, etc., etc., and the effectiveness is measured. Then only it is effective. So it's a very strategic moment, when you talk about learning and development. And I hope we all keep learning from our common experiences, and we keep sharing our experiences with others, etc. Thank you. Take care.